Okay, I think we're ready to go. John, would you like to start?
Thank you, Pamela. Are you the MC for today?
It appears that I am.
Oh.
Hello, everybody. I'm the Engagement Manager at uSpark, and I'm introducing you to John Roland, who's the Chair of the uSpark Board, and John is going to warmly welcome you.
Thank you, Pamela. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to our very first uSpark Demo Day. I'm proud to say that I'm the Chair of uSpark because I think the ability for organisations to stimulate innovation will give us the green shoots for the future. And all of us kind of get bored doing the same stuff. Unico as a company has been famous for doing new stuff. And then, of course, you win some new stuff and you start delivering it, and all of a sudden it becomes old stuff. So uSpark gives us the opportunity to participate in some new ideas, to partner with entrepreneurs who are bringing new ideas to market, and in bringing those new ideas, using new technologies to create and solve business problems. And the advantage our relationship with Unico brings, and the uSpark board, is that we can use our years of experience in various industries, which is quite diverse, to bring some of these new ideas to market. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce Roland Thomas. Roland is the CEO of uSpark, and he'll tell you a little bit about uSpark and some of the mentees that we have supported through this program. So thank you and good morning, Roland, and I'll disappear from screen.
And hopefully I come up.
All good.
Okay, thank you. Thanks for that, John. So I'll take you through a little bit about uSpark and what it's intended to do, and a little bit about its history. But it's great to see and exciting to see so many parts of the ecosystem of startups interested in seeing what we have been doing with our mentoring program over the last 6 months, and how the mentorees have evolved. The agenda is pretty straightforward. I'll briefly give you some context around uSpark, and then we can just jump into the main purpose and hear from the startups themselves. And we will have the opportunity for questions at the end. If you can queue them up in the chat, that would be great. So you've heard from John, and you've met me, and we've got 6 very interesting people and businesses to speak with. We have Trav Roebuck from Dubstream, who will head it off, followed by Brendan Murphy from Will HQ. Then we'll see Sally Wood from Nourri, Josh Marsden from Applied Mental Health, Adam Valastro from Travel and Tradies, and Dylan Kendall from Zakata. And I'm sure you'll find all of their stories interesting, as well as their presentations. So uSpark was born in the midst of a pandemic to a mature 38-year-old parent called Unico Computer Systems. It does sound a little bit more like the entrance to a book rather than a presentation. But for those unfamiliar with Unico, as John was indicating, they're an IT services company that's got deep experience building large, heavy demand platforms. They specialise in telecommunications, but also having expertise across lots of other areas: IoT, privacy, cybersecurity, AI, to name a few. The reason uSpark was born is that there are waves of technology, perhaps unprecedented waves of technology, all capable of being disruptive to anyone who's in the technology sector. We are already seeing that we're into the AI spring. Industry 4.0 is getting mainstream attention. Real applications are emerging for blockchain, value augmented reality, and VR mixed reality solutions are emerging. All the infrastructure to make the Internet of Things a reality is falling into place and making some of these outcomes inevitable. The companies that were just scrolling up the screen, however, were all good, innovative businesses, well run, that for some organisational issues were unable to catch the disruptive waves that were coming through in their different industries. There were some familiar names in there to everybody, and it's an important observation that this can happen to all businesses no matter how well we're traveling. So when I was in my inexorable slide from engineer to the commercial dark side, Geoffrey Moore's Crossing the Chasm and Inside the Tornadoes were the seminal marketing references for nascent tech companies wanting to go mainstream. His more recent work, Zone to Win, is a somewhat more pragmatic but nonetheless effective framework that illustrates the role uSpark was envisaged to play when it was created. So Unico is a high-performing business, continually refining and improving its operating model, operating incredibly well, as John indicated. The uSpark initiative created a separate organisational model that pops up for me that parallels the Unico model. It allows the organisation to innovate in non-traditional ways to incubate potential new business lines or different ways of operating, and then alternatively scaling them up for successful execution, moving out of the incubation area until it can become part of a significant new business line. In learning how to do this, however, we realised that this capability was equally useful to a significant sector of the startup community. So we launched our external engagement initiative, which is why we're here today. Most early stage programs, for tech startups, provide funds which can in turn be used to either build a tech team or contract one, however they choose, depending on the backgrounds of the individuals. But the uSpark engagement model tends to like to skip that step and go directly into providing the IT services from Unico, and in fact from others, to build out and scale technology for startups in return for an equity stake. This is often the establishment of a tech team, and the management of a tech team is something that can be daunting for new businesses. We also provide mentoring in specifically technical, but other general business and commercial mentoring. And there are three entry points you can have to get into uSpark. We can start small with experimentation, small amount of money, just to test conceptually whether something is going to be viable or not. We can then go into more of a market validation where we can build out an MVP, take it to the market and get feedback to validate the commercial idea. And then we can take that and build out the entire platform and accelerate it to scale. What we don't really do is provide a set of specific business course training for an education for folks. And in terms of our horizon, we believe we're going to build up a long-term relationship with our business, the businesses that we're working with. And so we intend to stay until we're not needed, be that some broad exit or another significant funding event, whichever happens to be the most appropriate time. But we intend to be there as long as we're adding value to the overall businesses. So from its beginning as something which was to work and innovate with Unico, we now aspire to be the premier technology partner of choice for startups to achieve success through technical excellence. And it's specifically focusing on the need to be providing them with a technically excellent platform and solution. So that's uSpark in a nutshell. I won't take up too much more of your time. I will hand back to Pam, who, as you mentioned before, is the uSpark Engagement Manager, and she'll be your MC for the remainder of the proceedings. Once again, I remind you, put your questions in the chat if you could, and then they'll be answered by either the uSpark team members or the presenters at the end of the presentations. Hope you enjoy the rest of the presentations, and I'll speak later. Thank you.
Thanks, Roland. Okay, well, first up of our startups, I'd like to introduce you to Dubstream. Dubstream was founded by Trav Roebuck, and Dubstream is an entertainment streaming platform which has multiple channels, and it connects entertainment brands and celebrities with their fans. So take it away, Trav.
Thank you so much, Pam. Thank you so much, everybody, for coming today. My name's Trav. I actually am from a radio background, and what I noticed in my 15 years of radio is there was this really weird disconnect. So we would have celebrities come in to promote something, whether it be an Ed Sheeran to promote a new tour or a single or something like that. They'd come in at 2 o'clock on a Tuesday because that was when their time and schedules permitted. We'd pre-record that interview and then we'd play it back maybe at 5 o'clock on a Thursday because that was the best time when we had our peak listenership. And even though it had been pre-recorded 2 days beforehand, we'd always have people calling up the radio station wanting to talk to Ed and ask him questions. And obviously it's a bit awkward, like, oh, sorry guys, he's not here. He's not taking questions, sorry. And then you'd walk downstairs after the show at 6:30 at night, and there would be lines and lines of kids just waiting to catch a glimpse of Ed and maybe get a selfie or something like that. So for me, there was an obvious disconnect and an opportunity, I guess, to kind of reinvigorate that whole scenario where we could do away with the radio and actually go directly to the celebrities, and the celebrities could promote their products directly to their fans. So that's why Dubstream came along, and we've been perfecting it over the past 18 months or so. And Morris has got a video for you. I'm going to stop talking for a second, and if you could hit play on that, mate, that'd be awesome.
Hey, I'm Trav, the founder of Dubstream. Dubstream lets sports teams, musicians, movie and entertainment companies create, distribute, and monetize the content that they're already making, not replacing, but building on what they're already doing and giving them the tools to build their own engaged and loyal communities to directly market and sell to, all in one centralized hub. Why? Well, I've worked in the radio industry for about 15 years, and I've noticed two things: how hard it is to monetize content and how passionate fans are. Fan engagement is severely underrated and underutilized. They call the station to try to speak to them. They wait for hours outside just to catch a glimpse, hoping for any kind of interaction or to hopefully get a selfie. So you've got creators trying to promote what they're doing to their fans, and fans desperate to be a part of their favorite creators' worlds, but there's still this disconnect. So let's take a look at music. Physical music sales used to be 90% of an artist's revenue, but with streaming services now the norm, it's dropped to about 5.5%. I mean, that would be fine if streaming services and other platforms paid artists a decent amount, but they don't. Look, it is great promotion, but these platforms use their content to generate revenue for themselves, and the artists are suffering. Artists also go to radio and TV stations to promote their music and tours to a station's audience, but really, it's their fans who tune in to hear these interviews. That boosts the station's audience numbers, who then use that to sell advertising. That revenue goes straight in their pockets, and the artists get nothing. It's also really hard for fans to interact with them or to buy anything they're promoting, having to remember where to go online, find where to buy the album or the tickets. But fans also feel a disconnect. Your favorite band or artist is a part of your identity. You want to feel a part of their lives as much as they're a part of yours. And the way things are right now makes it almost impossible to make that connection. If I'm an artist, why would I pay for marketing or do it for free when I can get paid to market? What if I'm an Ariana Grande fan? I know she's got a new song coming out this week. Rather than sit around the radio or keep refreshing YouTube, I open up Dubstream. With her own channel, rather than releasing the song for others to generate an audience and revenue from, she can do it exclusively for her fans and generate that revenue for herself. She can easily live stream, invite her fans backstage, to tour rehearsals, or inside the recording studio, chat with her in real time, all while creating hype, easily selling tickets, and more. Now for the first time, she can create and monetize content from the access she already has, with experiences that are interactive, personal, and shoppable, all in one platform. Sounds pretty good, right? But why would artists use Dubstream? Well, just through Dubstream monthly subscriptions, they can easily double or even triple their current earnings for an entire year. Let's have a look at Ariana Grande again. In 2020, she had a total earnings of $72 million. If 1% of her current Instagram audience paid $5 a month for a monthly subscription, she'd make $77 million per year, more than she did for the whole of 2020. And given our revenue split is 50-50, Dubstream would also generate $77 million from just one channel. If 3% of that audience paid $5 a month, she would generate $233 million per year, and so would Dubstream. In fact, the top 10 artists would earn $569 million a year collectively amongst themselves, and for Dubstream, 10 channels. That's just one revenue stream. Keeping in mind we also generate revenue through pay-per-view, advertising, e-commerce and more. As you can see, there's huge potential in the Dubstream model, not just for publishers, but for the company and our investors. And the best thing, we're not competing with the big companies for broadcast rights or streaming and licensing rights. We're actually working with them. In fact, we're helping them, giving our publishers a platform to promote the game, the movie, the tour directly to their fans, which equals more eyes and more revenue for them. Everybody wins.
So when you launch our Dubstream app, you come to this place and you can see here we've got Taylor Swift. She's just about to do a backstage tour of one of her concerts for her Love World tour. So you can tune in for that. We've also got Ariana Grande here about to do an album listening party with her brand new album and all of her fans. When you scroll down, we've got all of our different genres, as you can see here, rock, EDM, rap. And down below live, we've got Drake about to drop a brand new single. We've got Harry Styles in the studio and Little Mix as well in at the set of their music tour. So, ooh, mine's just stopped for a second. This is Ariana Grande's channel. You can see here where she has videos straight away. She's actually doing a live tour rehearsal here. Her fans can jump in and see and be a part of the action. They've also got a live store on every single channel that's in-house in the platform where you can put merchandise, put tickets, directly sell. We can also sell all of their products directly in the live streams as well with a one-click shoppable link. So it's really great for impulse buying and for people to buy their tickets and merchandise straight away. For some reason, my video has seemed to have frozen. Let me see if this fixes it. That's better, I think. Actually, Morris, if you might be able to I might try to share my screen. I've got my deck here because it's actually just frozen and I can't see, which is really, really awkward. All right, sorry about this. Second.
Travis, it might help if you turn on your camera as well.
Yeah, sure. I thought it might be a bit. 1 second. All right. That we love technology. All right. So I don't have a share option here, I don't think.
Okay.
Can you see that?
We can actually see Dubstream's placeholder, but it's not proceeding to your deck for some reason.
So there's no deck there at all?
No, I can't see any pictures. Oh, something's coming up. Wait a minute. Do you want to go? Yep. Do you want to?
I can promise you that our tech is a lot smoother than this.
Okay, no worries. Why don't you proceed with your deck, and let's see how we go.
Can you see that deck right now?
I can see your placeholder with the name Dubstream on it, but
removing the barriers to make viewers friends rather than fans.
Yes, indeed, we can see that.
Fantastic, that's my deck. All right, so essentially what we're trying to do here with Dubstream is exactly that. To remove that barrier to make viewers friends rather than fans. So fans are great, but that intimacy and that closeness of being an actual friend of your favorite band, sports team or artist. So just imagine if you're actually a friend of Harry Styles. You get invited into the studio, you get to hear his brand new song before anybody else in the world. You know, he's like, hey, I've got this brand new track. Can I play it for you first? I don't, want to hear your feedback, and then we're going to release it, in maybe a week or so. So as a friend and as a fan, that's an amazing experience. You feel like, oh my gosh, like I'm getting to hear this exclusive thing before anybody else. I love it. I can interact with him and let him know how I feel. Or say your favorite sports team has just won a huge game And rather than just, sitting in the stands, you get to go backstage into the actual locker room with them, and you get to talk to your favorite players, and you get to ask them questions about, what the game was like, and discuss what happened in the game. It's a pretty cool experience. And I'm sure that if you're sitting in the stands and you get a tap on the shoulder and asked if you wanted to go into the locker room to do that, nobody is going to say no to that. So for us, fan engagement is a huge thing, and it's basically the fuel that powers revenue streams. So the more fan engagement, it actually translates to greater revenue across the board. So the more that a fan is engaged, the more likely that they're willing to spend. And the key to true fan engagement is actually build and grow human connections by creating these value-driven communities that people want to belong to because they want to be a part of it, they want to feel like it. And brand love is actually built on emotions, not transactions. So as much as you love a team or a band that you love, you're going to buy just because you love them, not just because of what they are. They've actually got one thing that nobody else has, which is access to them, and they can sell it to who they want the most, which is their fans. So at Dubstream, we're actually about the 3 C's. Content's our first C, so that's content creation and distribution. Our second C is community, so building communities for these brands and being able to monetize those communities. And then our last C is commerce, so we can sell tickets, merchandise, anything that you want there. It's basically doing the 3 C's, content, community, and commerce all in one platform, which is spread across so many platforms nowadays. We actually take the best features of the best platforms and put them all in one. So we take the content, the interactivity and the community building of a Twitch. We then take the monthly subscription model of an OnlyFans, the content discovery algorithms of a YouTube, the promotion of an Instagram, the e-commerce experience of a Shopify, and the user experience of a Netflix. Again, these are all fragmented across many platforms, and we put them all into the one place. We've actually got some really cool letters of intent as well. So these are all signed, and these companies are willing to trial the Dubstream platform, which is huge for us. So we've got Creative Artist Agency over in the US, who are probably the leading talent agency across music, sport, and entertainment. DMAC Records is a huge record label, mainly dance and electronic music, founded by Steve Aoki, the famous DJ, over in the States. We've got Neon Records here in Australia, and Tomorrow Music as well here in Australia, which used to be Ministry of Sound. These are just some of our letters of intent. We've got many, many more. Plus, we've also been chatting to and got interest from some big organisations like MotoGP, the Indian Premier League teams, and a bunch of the Indian Super League soccer teams as well, who are all waiting for our beta to be released, and they're interested in just trialing that and seeing how Dubstream works for them. So right now, there's currently 4.66 billion active internet users, and each one of those is either a fan of sport, music, or entertainment. And in most cases, they're a fan of all 3 of those, and maybe even multiple teams and multiple artists. So our serviceable available market is 101.2 billion, which is the current over-the-top global market. And with our projections that we've done through with a third party, we're actually aiming for 0.25% of that current global OTT market in year 1, which is a massive $253 million. Since joining uSpark, it's been amazing for us. It's been a really great 6 months, not only the support that we've had, but we've been able to raise our pre-seed. From that, we're able to build our beta platform, which is almost ready to go and should be ready to launch in the coming months. That's a web-based platform. We've expanded our team into the US across partnerships, capital raise, and more. And we've been talking to and having meetings with global brands across sport, music, and entertainment, our 3 big pillars. And so our final steps are we're actually searching for our next seed round funding of USD $2 million. And that's going to go from having our platform at a web-based platform, expanding across to mobile and TV, platform launch costs and maintenance, key hires and team expansion. And that's going to give us around about 12 to 18 months of runway. But hopefully by then we'll be making money. We won't need to raise again. But that is Dubstream. Thank you so much for taking a look at our little platform. And again, apologies for technology, but I think we got there in the end.
Thank you, Trav. It was great to see what you've been up to over the last 6 months. Our next startup mentoree who will be presenting today is Will HQ. Will HQ was founded by Brendan Murphy, and Brendan's platform actually is a fantastic boon to the legal industry because it allows you to go online and create your own will without the use of lawyers. And I'm saying that as a lawyer, so it's pretty good in my book. So I will, without further ado, I will push you over towards Brendan.
Good morning, or I think your afternoon where you are. I'm in WA, so good morning, good afternoon, wherever anybody happens to be. Thank you, Pam. Let me introduce this by saying you are going to be a long time dead. And once you're gone, there isn't a single thing that you can do for the loved ones left behind. But before you pass away, you can leave them one of the greatest gifts possible, a will. If you die intestate, will-less, you leave a legacy of pain, cost, delay and distress for your family and loved ones. My name is Brendan Murphy of willhq.com, and we make will writing inexpensive, simple, convenient and easy to update. Now, I'm sure you all know this. A will is simply the legal instruction as to how you pass on your possessions after your death. And traditionally, it needed to be on paper, signed and witnessed in real wet ink. Technology has done very, very little to improve the process until now. However, the fact is that about 12 to 14 million people in Australia and New Zealand don't have a will. And even the fact that that range of 12 to 14 is not precise, there are very few detailed statistics, information as to this area. We just know that most of the population doesn't have a will. And the impact is that tens of thousands die without one every year. Over a 10-year period, that's the equivalent of the whole population of Canberra dying without a will. So you got to ask the question, if this is such an important thing to do to provide for your loved ones' futures, why don't people actually do it? Why don't they actually write a simple document? Now, traditionally, and I'm sure it's in your heads as I speak, it was seen as a very expensive and possibly inconvenient task, especially given that it would often, circumstances would change and it needs to be updated regularly. And you add to that the fact that most of us really don't believe we're going to die anytime soon. And it just was easy to put off this. But I go back to the result, tens of thousands die and leave chaos behind them for their family and loved ones. Now, Will HQ is the solution to this under-recognized problem. And we're in the right place at the right time due to recent law changes. I'll show you a busy slide now. Let me show you the details and then I continue. Now, can you see that slide called What Happens If? And I'm going to assume you can, because yeah, this, I sympathize, Trav. I know where you're coming from. Teams is a little bit clunky when you're presenting because you don't know exactly what the other side is seeing, but I'm going to, because I'm getting no feedback, I assume you see this. Oh, good, you can read that. Thanks, Marth. Brilliant. Right. You can read this. I'm going to tell you a couple of stories, quick stories as you do that. I live in WA, I said. I'm married, I have children. If I happen to die over here with no will, and I'll simplify things for the sake of time, my children inherit roughly 2/3 of my estate, with my wife getting 1/3 plus a bit extra. So if one of the kids wants their share, however, and if the main asset is the family home, it's quite likely that this home might have to be sold to pay out their share. Okay, you get that? My wife could lose her home if it were in my sole name, as it might be if I owned it before we married. However, if I dragged myself over the state border, house included, to Victoria and died there in the same circumstances, my wife gets everything and the children nothing. The point is that the inheritance laws are a little bit inconsistent. They vary by state, and the only way to avoid being subject to them is to have a valid will on death. Now, the second quick story is absolutely true. I got this from one of our users early this year. A woman was in a de facto relationship in New South Wales and her partner died. The relationship was relatively recent, and both partners had kept their own properties and their own bank accounts, and little was in joint names and nothing that provided really clear evidence that they were a legally recognized de facto couple, which the law treats exactly the same as a married couple. However, this poor woman could not recover her partner's body from the hospital morgue for burial because she could not satisfactorily prove she was his legal partner. It took a week before they were happy, and to add insult to injury, she was charged hundreds of dollars per night to keep his body in the freezer. All would have been avoided with a simple will. So, what have we done to address this under-recognized problem? First, we have an operational application, and Pam mentioned that, and very kind words, thank you, Pam, that enables someone to make a will for $99. This is designed for the average person who wants to leave their worldly possessions to loved ones and family, perhaps some gifts to others or to charity, perhaps to appoint guardians for kids under the age of 18, if applicable, and to leave funeral instructions. In other words, the sort of will that 70% or more of the population probably need. And obviously the documentation has been prepared by lawyers, but you do not need a lawyer to make a simple will. Now, please sit back, disengage your eyeballs, because you're going to get a very quick demo of Will HQ, so do not try and focus on any of this. Right, here we go. This is the application loaded. We're about to choose the top option, which is to create a new will. Don't try and read this. There are 3 steps: executors, beneficiaries, and finalization. I've pre-populated my executor, and you can see its contact details go into the system. I need to decide if I want to inform the executor I have a will, and I need to decide how costs after death will be carried. I now record what I'm going to leave to whom, and again, it's the same format as previously. I put in specific bequests, I put in the residual estate, how I divide my possessions, and now I'm gone straight to guardians if that beneficiary was under the age of 18. I want to decide if I'm going to be buried or cremated. There is no third option. And after that's done, there's a very quick security check to make sure that it's me who's doing this. That takes about 3 seconds. There you go. And now we're ready to sign and witness the will. A PDF is downloaded, and you see the first page again, prepared by lawyers, 4-page document. The final page has got a QR code for security purposes, and obviously given time, I'm not going to go into that in too much detail. So, ladies and gentlemen, you have now witnessed a world record writing of a will in less than 1 minute and 20 seconds. So, it's likely to take you a bit longer than that, but that will give you the idea. Having said that, what I've shown you still does not address some of the key obstacles that keep people from completing their wills. The output is a PDF which must be printed, signed in ink in the presence of 2 independent witnesses who also sign in ink. Most of you are probably aware of that. So we've addressed some of the issues, but not all of them. Now, you're well aware, and many of you may have come across firsthand the issues of making wills and other documents during COVID, especially with regard to people in old folks' homes. So in the last few months, the law has changed in Victoria, New South Wales and Queensland, the rest of the country will follow, to allow digital wills. So how about we do it this way? We are developing a fully digital solution which removes the need for paper, ink, and people getting together in a room. So let me show you this. Oops. There you go. Please refer to sad Miss Smith there at the top of the page. She wants to make a will to provide for her family, but she can't afford the cost, or perhaps she can't take the time to endure the old manual process. She registers with Will HQ and enters her details. And we ask just 7 questions at the simplest level. Who are you? Married or partner? Children? Who will carry out your wishes after you're gone? Do you want to leave any heirlooms or specific gifts to people or perhaps to charity? How do you wish to divide up your remaining possessions, and do you want to be buried or cremated? That's it. That's the basis of a simple will. We present a summary of her wishes, which she can change or accept, and she then clicks a Witness Now button, and this is the big deal. We will provide 2 authorized witnesses from the cloud. The 3 parties follow a legal script, e-sign the document, which is then locked. The whole session is recorded, encrypted, and stored securely. That, ladies and gentlemen, is a 10-minute will for $99, which she can freely alter for 12 months and subsequently pay a small annual fee to manage it for the next 50 years. I suggest to you, friends, parents, adults, and avid listeners, that Miss Smith is now a much happier person. Now, this is a demo and a general information session, but I want to clearly communicate that Will HQ has its own mission. We have decided that we have a mission to eliminate intestacy in Australia. I started this by saying 12 to 14 million people in Australia and New Zealand don't have wills. We feel that we can actually deal with that. And how are we going to do it? We've put together a pretty impressive team. We've got a very strong technical and marketing strategy to drive the message. But what's more important is that I'm just a juggler. I know a little about everything and I know a lot about very little. On the other hand, my co-founder Vern is an expert in the digital messaging space, and our CTO Jay is a very respected technologist who was an award winner with the CRN Fast 50. Got an advisory board of 3 really first-class operators covering innovation, scaling digital startups, and legal. We are shooting for the moon on this one. So, getting to the end of this, if you are one of the 12 million people in Australia without a will, what I ask today is a plea. Please make a will. Contact me or log on to willhq.com or go to your lawyer if that is the right option for you. Just do it. Your loved ones need you to do it. If you're an investor or a business person who sees the vision in what I've described, please contact me. We are in the capital raising phase at the moment, and I'd love to have a conversation with you. So to close, I'll leave you with the thought that you do not make a will for yourself, you make it for your loved ones. We are not reinventing the wheel, but we are putting a digital tire on it. Thank you for your attention. I'm Brendan Murphy of willhq.com.
Thank you very much, Brendan. Our next startup that we'll be presenting today is Nourri. Nourri was established by Sally Wood, and Nourri is a digital platform that focuses on nurturing parents and carers, specifically their mental health and well-being. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Pam. Just pulling up my presentation. Hopefully you can all see it. Yes, I'm assuming like the others. So I'm Sally.
No, sorry, Sally. I think we've still got Brendan's.
Oh, you can't see mine now. Oh, a second. A moment.
Perfect.
Take 2. Okay, so thanks for the introduction. And yeah, so I'm CEO and founder of Nourri, an innovative digital healthcare platform giving parents the same degree of care that they give to their children. Because although being a parent is incredible, it's also incredibly tough. When I became a mum, I discovered my most challenging issue was something no one really warned me about. Having a child is all-consuming, all action, magical 1 minute and absolute mayhem the next. And in the midst of the juggle, it's pretty easy to lose yourself. And I'm not alone. 62% of parents say their most challenging issue is looking after their own mental and physical well-being. And the reality is it's a lonely and self-perpetuating problem. So give me a moment, guys, because it's not clicking. Oh, here we go. It's just having a little delay. We did do a rehearsal and there's always going to be tech issues, isn't there? Where's the slide? There we go. Can you see that now? Yes. So isolation is one of the key contributing factors to what really is an epidemic of poor mental health amongst parents. Roughly 1 in 6 new parents are diagnosed with perinatal anxiety and depression, and this really is just the tip of the iceberg, with up to 50% of cases never even detected. Today's parents are finding themselves trapped in a cycle of neglecting their own healthcare due to factors like lack of time, energy, and money. There are, of course, very real flow-on effects with this, where the well-being of the child, the entire family, relationships, workplaces, and our communities are ultimately impacted. And these impacts are costing the Australian economy $877 million in the first year alone. Having spent over a decade commercialising for some of Australia's largest parenting publications, it was clear there was a huge gap in the market for a platform exclusively dedicated to the health and wellbeing of parents. So that's why we made it our mission to bring to life a first of its kind digital health platform that makes healthcare easy and accessible to families. It's self-care for parents made simple, and goodness, they have earned it. Nourri provides timely, tailored support for today's modern families by bringing together trusted content and consults from a network of highly vetted health and wellbeing practitioners, while also connecting its community with other parents walking the same path. Parents are empowered to take a more proactive approach to nurturing their wellbeing through a wide range of evidence-based tools and strategies aimed at treating specific ailments unique to parents, while also having easy access to the Nourri network of providers across a range of specialties such as sleep coaches, lactation consultants, psychologists, doctors, nutritionists, and relationship coaches. Nourri is unique in that it provides a one-stop shop for parents to turn to anytime, the day or night is getting the better of them. Where's my shared window? Sharing is paused until you return to the window. Can you guys still see my screen?
Yes.
Oh, that's weird because I've lost my pitch. So can you see my presentation?
Yes, it's on the content consultants and community slide.
It's really strange because now it's just completely disappeared. So I don't know where it's gone. It's just completely disappeared for some reason. If I just go back to, hold on. Oh, here we go. Okay, is it back again? No, it seems like you didn't ever lose it, so I'll just keep talking. So yeah, we're a one-stop shop for parents to turn to anytime the day or night's getting the better of them. So Nourri is all about simplifying things by providing credible information and resources all in one place so that parents can finally fire Dr. Google and save hours sorting through the do's and don'ts of the internet. It's holistic, combining a unique blend of preventative practice through our health and wellbeing programs aimed at crucial life stages and in-the-moment problem solving through our telehealth capabilities, offering a complete health solution. And it's smart, leveraging data-driven insights to personalise each parent's experience, always serving the right support at the right time. So we've developed an ecosystem where there's an equal value exchange between both parents and practitioners. Parents can take control of their wellness and have convenient access to support whenever and wherever they need it, whether that be in the form of community support from other parents who are going through similar challenges, our content, or our network of health practitioners. And health practitioners can also benefit from the convenience to plug into a platform at a time and location that suits them. They also have a place to build their profile, position themselves as the go-to authority in their area of expertise, and benefit from the Nourri referral network. Nourri really is a step change in digital healthcare for families. There is an overload of wellbeing apps and websites focused on the how-to side of parenting, but very few focused on parents' wellbeing, and even fewer leverage innovative technology to offer a service as comprehensive and targeted as Nourri. With existing major players focused exclusively on women's or men's health, we're well poised to position ourselves as not only the first robust healthcare platform for families here in Australia, but also on a global scale. Just trying to change my slide. Sorry, having a delay again. Nourri's primary target market is expectant and new parents with children up to 5 years of age. As this represents a significant portion of the population, we've segmented the initial market opportunity by concentrating on the number of parents with perinatal depression and anxiety in developed countries, coupled with their approximate incurred annual healthcare costs. This represents a total addressable market of 7.3 billion Australian dollars. And then when factoring in the percentage of parents who search for health information online in English-speaking countries only, our serviceable addressable market is 2.4 billion. And then furthermore, when factoring in 10% market share based on the competitive landscape and average annual revenue per customer on our platform of just $300, our serviceable obtainable market is 115 million. And our market goes beyond families. I'm having another little delay. Oh yeah, here we go. So basically we've identified corporate EAPs as an emerging growth engine for the business and have already been in discussion with the likes of NAB and Medibank about providing a valuable addition to the employment offer, helping to improve productivity and retention amongst parents. Health insurers also form part of our payer strategy, where improved health outcomes will reduce risk exposure and ultimately costs. We've designed a freemium subscription model with individual and family subscription options for parents wanting to access premium features and content. Parents will be able to purchase a range of wellbeing programs individually, along with the telehealth consults, where Nourri will look to retain a percentage of each session. To scale our platform, we'll be applying a multi-channel approach in the form of digital marketing efforts directly to consumers. We'll also be growing our impact by key channel partnerships with primary healthcare networks, maternity services, and GP clinics. And we have a host of retention and referral mechanisms in place to keep our platform sticky and motivate parents to nurture their health and happiness. And then to stoke virality, we'll introduce member referral incentives and also make it easy for people to give subscriptions for baby showers, Mother's Day, Father's Day, etc. And it's not clicking again. Sorry, guys. Just being stubborn, these slides today. Oh, here we go. Okay, so just a little bit about IP. We're currently leveraging some data and own content to deliver our service. We've received early acceptance of the Australian trademark for Nourri across 4 different classes and are now in the process of securing international trademark protection via the Madrid Protocol for the UK, US, New Zealand, Canada, and Singapore. As our product development and business matures, a regulatory pathway may very well form part of our strategy in the future, but at this stage, our software is intended for general self-management of health and wellness and not classed as a medical device. Finally, we'll also work to develop a robust trade secret policy that will be protected through NDAs along with copyright protection to advance our business model and product. And we're already on the journey. So we're currently in the process of evolving our existing platform, the Mindful Mum, into Nourri, off the back of our discussions with workplaces to provide a more inclusive offering for all parents, with the scope and flexibility to extend to new market segments such as carers more broadly, and even carving out specific programs and offerings for children. We currently own the copyright to over 300 professionally shot online classes and programs that we'll be leveraging as part of the Nourri platform. These classes range from mindfulness, meditation and yoga to birth preparation and recovery, along with a range of easy to digest tools and strategies to help parents not just survive, but thrive throughout the journey. And we've built a strong foundation for success, producing an extensive library of content in close consultation with the hundreds of mums who paid for our product. Meanwhile, we've been working on building our database, growing our social following, securing PR and national award recognition. A few months ago, we were chosen to participate in the MedTech Actuator backed by Artesian and received some pre-seed investment to help amplify our commercial pathway and build our MVP. We've also been able to finalise our brand identity and messaging, expanded our voice of customer research beyond mums to include dads and healthcare practitioners, which has further supported our problem and solution validation. We've developed our IP, regulatory business model, product development and capital raising strategies, while also participating in the uSpark mentoring program. And most recently, we've also partnered with the Monash MBA Commercialisation of Technology project, which explores ways of strategically advancing the market potential. And we're now moving into product development of our MVP with the goal to officially launch Nourri into the market in early 2022. And as part of our MVP, we'll be piloting telehealth along with our freemium subscription model. And following these key milestones, we'll be looking to raise our seed round. So we're currently building our investor pipeline and would of course welcome any introductions to angels, VCs, or even corporates to explore pilot partnerships. And here's the team. So this is something I'm particularly excited about. Recently joining us is Sebastian as CMO, who has over 18 years experience driving marketing solutions at award-winning agencies. Kruti is our CTO and brings over 13 years in tech development, managing large teams at various product companies. And Jai is a senior full stack developer. I bring over 13 years experience leading sales efforts for some of the world's largest media companies and a proven track record in commercializing online offerings and managing teams of over 20 people. We're also supported by a handful of consultants and advisors covering legal, commercial and medical, with some fantastic key opinion leaders in primary care, psychiatry and perinatal mental health. And ultimately, we're all united in our passion for making healthcare easier and more accessible to families. So now more than ever, parents are crying out for more support. So let's change the face of family healthcare and build a better, brighter future for us all.
Thanks very much for that, Sally. Excellent.
Very welcome. Thanks for having me. I'll just stop spotlighting.
Great. Before we move on to our next presenter, I'd like to remind you all that you can put questions in the chat, and we're going to be addressing those later on at question time after everyone's finished their presentations. So please feel free. I encourage you to put questions to our mentorees and presenters in the chat, and we'll definitely be looking at those towards the end of the session. Our next mentoree who's demoing today is Josh Marsden, and Josh Marsden runs Applied Mental Health. Applied Mental Health is an interactive digital platform that supports the creation of psychologically safe and thriving workplaces. I'll just hand over now to Josh, who'll be able to tell you more about his platform. Thank you.
Thank you, Pam, for that lovely introduction. And yeah, hello everyone, great to be here, and I hope you're enjoying the prezos so far. So as mentioned, I'm the co-founder of Applied Mental Health, or founder of Applied Mental Health, I should say. And basically I started this company out of discontent with the current mental health and wellbeing market. So my background, I'm an exercise physiologist. I've been working in large corporates running their health and wellbeing programs for about 12 years, and always really struggled to find a mental health solution that was delivered at the systemic level rather than the individual level. Right now, most people address mental health and wellbeing in the workplace at the individual through mindfulness activities, resilience building programs, mental health awareness training sessions, which is an important piece of the puzzle, but it's the very end of the piece of the puzzle. What we should be doing is addressing mental health systemically by looking at the whole organisation and, really importantly, the team leader and the teams. And that's what Applied Mental Health is looking to do, build psychologically safe and thriving workplaces. Because there was no systemic approach to mental health and wellbeing in the corporate setting, I actually set out to solve this problem. And I did this by reaching out to AP Psychology and Consulting Services, who are leaders in the psych safety space, but they do all of their things face to face. And we put together a proposal to develop a digital solution that is ingrained into the workplace, and pitched this to WorkSafe Victoria. And we're lucky enough to receive a $1.2 million grant to develop and test the Applied Mental Health project, where we're at the back end of that at the moment as we look to commercialise into the market. So what is Applied Mental Health? It's an evidence-based and systemic approach to workplace psych safety, and it's designed to enable and empower organisational leaders and their workforces to implement sustainable change in the work environment. It's a lot of words there, but what does that actually mean? It means that we're going beyond theory and we're moving into practice with the idea that information is only as good as the way it's applied. And everything we do through Applied Mental Health is to get the leaders and their staff members to actively make changes into the way that they work and the way that they interact with others, so that we can create more meaningful and beneficial cultures of all the organisations we work with. The problem's apparent. There isn't a day that goes by where mental health isn't in the news, and the rise that's happening. The economic cost is staggering, and from an organisation point of view, they just don't know what to do. The average workers' compensation claim is growing year on year. In the last 3 years, it's grown by 80% to $75,000 per claim. I've been in organisations where those claims have been in excess of $500,000, which, as you can imagine, is not a risk any organisation can take. That's what Applied Mental Health is looking to address. It's looking to educate organisations and give them a tool and a framework to minimise the risk of workers' compensation claims to their people while helping every individual thrive inside that organisation. So what exactly defines a psychologically safe and thriving workplace? You've got the definition here. It's a psychologically safe and healthy, thriving workplace to move beyond awareness. That's the important part there. Right now, most programs are focused on that awareness piece rather than ingraining it into the workplace. They are workplaces that take a systemic and integrated approach to support psychological health and safety positively through prevention, protection, and support. If you're an organisation that wellbeing program consists only of your employee assistance program, that means that you're basically biting off the tail end of the mental health and wellbeing continuum. You're getting people when they're in crisis. You're getting people when it's incredibly expensive to support them, rather than putting relatively cost-effective strategies in place in that health promoting, prevention and protection space that avoids those people ever needing to access crisis response. Or when they do access it, they access it in a help-seeking behaviour to pick up something that might be wrong, rather than when they're in crisis. So the world is starting to shift, particularly with the new ISO 45003 around psychosocial factors. Organisations are starting to pick up and understand what it is to be a psych-safe and thriving workplace. But the thing is, they don't really understand how to implement that across the entire mental health and wellbeing continuum. And that's where we're able to help. We're the only solution that looks at the risk profile all the way through to follow-up intervention and crisis support if need be. So we follow the Canadian model of psychological safety, which has 13 specific factors that, when addressed, lead to a thriving workplace. These go far beyond the individual, all the way through to the organisational design, the workplace culture, recognition and reward, so that it becomes a great place to work. When we roll out the program, we actually have a bespoke survey called the WIPSI. It's a Workplace Psychological Safety Index. It's recently been validated by Deakin University, and we're also getting a pulse survey made out of that to evaluate each of the organisation's risk profile that we work with. And then from that risk profile, we're able to provide informed assessment and training programs to their leaders and direct reports based on those factors. And we've bundled that into 7 workplace strategies, which you can see on the right-hand side. That includes building leadership capacity at the very top, because we know that if we build up the capability and awareness of psych safety and mental health and wellbeing of the leaders in the workplace, that provides a 10x return on investment compared to typical wellbeing programs such as your mindfulness classes, health checks and so forth. They average about $2.3 per every dollar spent in the process. So it's about creating the whole picture for each organisation. Our objectives are to build a scalable and evidence-based solution to build psychologically safe and thriving workplaces in currently the higher education sector, but from January we'll be scaling out to the private sector as well. So the main goals are to increase leadership commitment and capability to actively contribute to a systemic approach for creating psych safety. It's increased the leaders' capability to protect the mental health and wellbeing of their people. And it's about including the entire workforce in the awareness of personal risk factors that impact psych safety and mental health and wellbeing. And this will ultimately proactively support the organisation's broader mental health and wellbeing strategy and organisational success. What does that look like in delivery? So Applied Mental Health is a digital training platform that also factors as a team management platform, with the idea that everything that we do inside the platform is to help people practically apply those learnings directly in their team environment. So we operate at 3 levels. We operate at the executive level and the human resource health and safety level, where we give them a profile of what their organizational risk profile looks like, and we can adjust and we assess that over time. And they can then use that platform to mobilize the training packages based on those areas that are high risk. The training packages look at 2 levels. We look at the leaders through our Applied Mental Health Leadership Program, and then the broader workforce through our Applied Mental Health Advocacy Program. The Leadership Program is about creating an environment where they can learn from each other, so all other leaders inside the organisation, share their experiences, and then practically apply the psychosocial factors or improvements of psychosocial factors in their direct work team, where by the end of the program, they'll actually have a team wellbeing plan that the whole team makes a verbal commitment to carry out, and that's adjusted over time. When the leaders start the program, once they've got the foundations of what a psychologically safe and thriving workplace is, they then invite their direct reports into the program so that they can then follow through and become a mentally healthy team together as they actually interact on the platform as one. So it's really important that we have many, many touch points with the people that we work with when dealing with psychological safety. It's not an individual experience, it's a collaborative experience. So inside the platform itself, it's a range of different tools and resources. The core element is the capability building section where the training modules are housed, but then there's the self-care side of things as well. So the mindfulness and gratitude diaries, and then the productivity tools. So we allow teams to run all of their wellbeing their one-on-one meetings through our meeting builder, which integrates with their calendar, and it follows the psychological safety principles so that every meeting they set up, they're able to follow a framework that ensures it's going to be a productive and effective conversation. So the roadmap for delivery for each organisation we work with starts with leadership, commitment and support. After all, we know that organisations that have high levels of buy-in from their leaders are going to have greater outputs when it comes to rolling out programs like this. Once we've got the leadership buy-in and support, we then roll out that workplace psychological safety index survey. So we're able to then provide the bespoke program and training, all automated in the back end based on that risk profile for that particular organisation. And then that leads them into the training section, which is all about practical application. So we've got hundreds of pieces of library content through videos, audios, and articles, but that's all to help them apply those learnings directly into their team environment. And what's unique is it's the actual team themselves that validate the leader or their colleagues' progress through the program so that we can truly say that it is a psychologically safe team and the commitment to the program has been applied into the workplace. It's an ongoing process. Once the training is going, they'll continue to receive pulses along the way relative to their direct work team's profile and activities to help them continue to improve across those 13 workplace factors. So right now, we've got over 1,000 people through the program, and when we run the evaluation surveys, we're averaging 8.5 out of 10 of how likely it is that people would recommend this course to this colleague. So this has given us really strong indicators that we're progressing in the right direction to scale out and lead the market in workplace psychological safety and wellbeing. So through this pilot period, we've got 5 awesome universities participating, and of that, we've got 1,078 users, and that's a mixture of team leaders and managers, and also their direct reports as they go through their respective training certificates. We've had over 8,800 individual activities completed throughout the course of this pilot. That's 8,800 activities that are directly related to building mentally healthy and thriving workplaces. And that's been supported by 9,000 educational resources and being accessed. We also have a unique leadership network, knowing that there is so much education already inside each organisation from the leaders, and we want them to have a safe space where they can ask questions of each other, share experiences and learn to then support their teams. And we've had 618 independent conversations started by leaders in that network, and that's been a really powerful feature in the program, and one that we're going to continue to build out to not just the leaders but all staff inside the program as well, with the idea of knowledge sharing. So as the pilot is ongoing, of the 1,000 participants, so far 451 certificates have been completed. So that's either the Applied Mental Health Leadership Program or the Applied Mental Health Advocacy Program, based on whether you're a team leader or a direct report. And then from the self-care point of view, 1,600 different self-care activities have been completed. So we're really excited by the utilisation of the platform, and we've been getting some really good use cases back from the participants that have been accessing it, where team leaders have completely changed the way that they interact with their team, putting regular wellbeing check-ins into all one-on-ones and all group team meetings, and really carrying out the wellbeing action plan. So yeah, really good signals there. So where we're currently at, so these are the 5 clients that we've currently got inside the platform. So like I said, we're launching in the university sector with the intent to then move into private sector through January. Of these 5 universities, we're looking to roll them over into our full package. And on top of that, we've started to build our pipeline where we've got $750,000 worth of pipeline in just the university sector alone. And that includes universities all the way from Singapore over to Otago in New Zealand, as a really effective way for universities to address a really challenging time for them, as they've all been really impacted by COVID. On top of that, we've also got 2 partnerships, channel partners already in tow. So Medibank are our project sponsor, and they'll be looking to roll out the AMH project into their client base, not just in the university sector, but more broadly. And we're expecting to have our first users through Medibank's client base into January. So that's a really key partnership, as Medibank actually own about 25% of the corporate health and wellbeing market, but they haven't really extended into the digital health and wellbeing space. The other partner is AP Consulting, AP Psych and Consulting Services. So they're also the subject matter experts for AMH, providing content and the training modules. They've also got a really big reach across Australia, particularly in large corporates such as Xero, 99 Designs, Orica, and government departments. Also have a really strong reputation in strategy, leading the strategy for the Mentally Healthy Trucks and Sheds program, which encompasses all of the major players in logistics. So we'll be looking to enter as a provider into that ecosystem as well. So that includes organisations such as Woolworths, Toll, Linfox, all the big players there. So yeah, we're really excited about where we're headed, and we're looking to, as we commercialise, we believe we'll be able to hit an ARR by the end of next year of up over $700,000, with the intent to then do a seed round from there. Just how big the opportunity is. The corporate wellbeing market is one of the fastest growing in the world. It's currently valued at $86.8 billion with a CAGR of 6.9%. But what AMH really is it's a applied learning platform delivered in a team management style format. So we'll actually be extending beyond psychological safety into the broader HR, health, people and culture, diversity and inclusion portfolio to run the applied model in their learning programs as well. And we're already testing that with Federation Uni, about to launch a cultural values program using our unique approach to learning. So that will push us into the L&D market, which is far greater, $366 billion. And again, a really strong CAGR of 13%. As a digital platform that will be able to show tangible changes to the workers' compensation premium, and then the culture of each organisation. The target deal size will be leveraging up towards $100,000, and will continue to grow as our outcomes come in. Last thing around where we're currently at is that we are also working with Monash University to validate the entire process as well. So once we have that validated early first quarter next year, that'll also be a really strong piece of sales collateral to show that we are leaders in the psych safety space. So the platform's in a really strong space. We're about to start working with the uSpark technology team, which I'm super pumped about, to then really increase the ability to embed ourselves into the organisations we work with, and that'll help us ascertain more high value data. But we're really looking to start trialling organisations in that private sector. So if any of you are part of an organisation that's looking to improve the psych safety of your workplace, please reach out and we can talk about doing a pilot of what it is we actually do. Thanks everybody so much for your time, and yeah, happy to take questions through the chat.
Fantastic. Thanks so much, Josh. Morris, I have a quick question for you. Has Adam Valastro from Travelling Tradies arrived?
No.
Okay. All right then. I think we'll proceed then with our next startup, which is Zakata. Zakata was founded by Dylan Kendall and Sonja Hedenstroem, and is a map-based information sharing and collaboration digital platform for the fire and emergency management sector, which is an amazing thing. It amalgamates data from a range of current and historic sources and shares it between the entities in real time. Off to you, Sonja and Dylan.
Sure. Sorry, we're getting there.
You're sharing now.
Okay. This movie explains why we do what we do.
Crews have just retreated from the forest. Then an unsettling question.
So, is Granite Mountain still in there?
The Granite Mountain 19 is trapped.
Do we have any firm location on where they're at?
No, I can't. Other than I would say the southeast corner. Division Alpha Bravo 33, I need you to pay attention and tell me when you hear the aircraft, okay? Because it's going to be a little tough for us to see you.
I have his old number, but I don't have his new number. Can you text it to me? Please. I really need it bad right about now.
One firefighter arrives at the deployment site.
Yeah, Todd, on scene. 18, confirmed.
I'm Dylan, and I've worked with bushfires for 27 years, and that's the reality of my world. The confusion, the uncertainty, the lack of information. There are thousands of fires a year, and that type of confusion occurs multiple times at every single one of them. Most of the time you're lucky, you get away with it. Occasionally, such as in this case, it has catastrophic outcomes. The cause of this is the technologies used for sharing information date from the middle of last century. They're error-prone and slow, resulting in confusion and under-informed and delayed decision-making. And this problem affects you. As a member of the public, you simply become part of that confusion. When they were looking for those firefighters, how much do you think they were focusing on you, the public? Also, every 1 minute delay in decision making adds 17 minutes to the length of a fire. In Australia's 2019-20 fires, if you had to wait 1 minute for someone to text you a phone number, another 600 hectares would have burnt, bigger than the Melbourne CBD. Another $3.5 million would have been spent, and another 30,000 tonnes of carbon would have been pumped into the atmosphere, the same as produced by 1,800 Australians in an entire year. You would have experienced this carbon as smoke, which killed 450 people, more than the fires themselves. We're Dylan
and Sonja, co-founders of Zakata,
and our vision is to reduce the impact of bushfires and other natural disasters on individuals, the environment and society by enabling better decisions to be made sooner. We create a map-based digital replica of a fire with 2 clicks, in which geographically distributed people can share information and collaborate in real time to plan and coordinate their activities, so the right information gets to the right person in seconds. Changes made to a map by one user are automatically visible to all users in the office and field in real time. It also displays the real-time location of every user on every device. A range of tools, such as messaging by lasso, enables users to be coordinated. Prevention activities undertaken prior to a fire are automatically visible when a fire occurs, even to firefighters before they arrive. Data is automatically collected from the map and represented to meet the decision-making needs of a range of users, such as statistics in tables that can be viewed on any device from any location. Rather than it taking 4 hours to get information from the scene of a fire to the community, we do it in seconds. And this can even be presented as a moving map similar to a rain radar. We also enable the community to share their real-time local knowledge back with authorities. All the while, data is automatically captured as a byproduct, which can be used to provide accountability and for data-driven decision-making at future fires, driving continuous improvement. There are some critical differences between how existing systems and our system share information. For example,
as a firefighter, I've been asked to work 5 kilometres from a fire. I know at that distance it will take several hours for the fire to reach me.
I'm on an adjacent ridge and I can see a spot fire started on the ridge where I believe Sonja is working. In existing systems, I won't actually know where Sonja is because that information isn't shared with me. In contrast, in our system, I can see her and she can see me. The spot fire means that instead of the fire taking several hours to reach Sonja, she'll be impacted within minutes.
I still have no idea the spot fire is there. All I can see is smoke and my own location on my device.
I plot the spot fire on the map to warn Sonja, but in existing systems, that potentially life-saving information will never get to Sonja. She won't know the spot fire even exists until
suddenly I'm surrounded by flames and it's too late.
And that's the exact scenario that killed those 18 firefighters in Arizona. In existing systems, nobody can see the whole picture. In our system, that life-saving information about the spot fire would be visible to Sonja or those 18 firefighters in seconds. The primary customers are government organisations on every continent. The market for this specific technology is $2.3 billion and growing. 95% of the market is untapped because it's less than 12 months old. While this is a very difficult market to break into, once you do, you'll own it, with existing emergency management IT markets dominated by single players who hold 70 to 90% market share. So where did we get to during the uSpark program? We commenced a trial with the Department for Environment and Water and the Country Fire Service in South Australia, funded by Andrew Forrest's Mentoree Foundation. And this is part of the South Australian Government's response to the Royal Commission into their Black Summer fires. The purpose of this trial is to identify user needs to develop a national capability. The Mentoree Foundation will publish a report on this trial to be provided to all Australian fire agencies. Queensland Parks and Wildlife Service has already said they'll use the report to guide their investment decisions. And Fire and Rescue New South Wales is also looking because they said it addresses their biggest problem. We've developed 2 projects with the Australian National University to be implemented under the Bushfire Centre of Excellence in the ACT in Victoria, funded by Optus. We've also identified 5 other funding opportunities that we'll pursue together. The Bushfire Centre of Excellence is aiming to develop advanced technologies to become national capabilities. Last month, the New South Wales Rural Fire Service issued a request for quote for an advanced bushfire intelligence delivery partner, with the stated purpose of establishing the foundations for a future real-time distributed intelligence and operations management platform, what we've already built. This indicates market demand and has given us great insight into specific customer needs. 4 new bushfire innovation grants have been announced just in the last week, with a combined value of $28 million. We're actively talking to the CEOs of 3 of these and have been invited to assist with implementing the 4th, which is an Australian-US initiative that originates from NASA. Two of the things these grants are aiming to develop is a bushfire digital twin and a real-time command and control system. Again, what we've already built. Just like phone is a channel for voice-based communication and email is a text-based communication channel, what we've actually done is develop an entirely new communication channel, which is real-time map-based collaboration. This has potential applications in a range of industries, and we've submitted proposals related to koala management to the New South Wales Government and public transport disruptions to Yarra trams. Exciting thing during the uSpark program has been the evolution of an entirely new market. Some of the world's largest owners of forests are now organisations like these, and you probably recognise a few of them. These companies are investing in forests which are comparatively cheap to offset their carbon emissions. And just last week, in the lead up to COP26 in Glasgow, the World Economic Forum described the carbon economy as the largest commercial opportunity of our time. The problem is, these forests are increasingly burning, and when they do, these companies must pay for more expensive ways of offsetting their emissions. For example, if the forest that burnt during 2019-20 in Australia had been used for carbon offsets, every 1 minute delay in decision making would have cost these companies $6 million in additional carbon offset costs. Now, bleeding money at this rate hurts even the biggest companies in the world. And in fact, it's faster than any of them generate revenue. They've just realised the risk they're exposed to, and they're desperately seeking solutions. And what this has done is it's actually brought two worlds that have never touched each other before together. The world of oil companies, global chemical and food manufacturing and mining, together with the world of fire. And this has created an entirely new market and it's introduced corporates into what's previously been a government business. Now, I'm going to be deliberately vague because we're under some non-disclosure NDAs. But our system has been included in solutions recommended to the board of the biggest carbon farmer on the left side of the screen. They've now asked for pricing and they've asked us to pitch to their global board. We're talking to three others on the left side of the screen who are involved in food and chemical manufacturing and mining. We met with the Chief Financial Officer of a global player in the energy industry who said, the concept is great, it's a blue ocean opportunity and they can't wait to get started. And all of this has happened just in the last fortnight. So in summary, during the uSpark program, we've explored three potential markets. Fire, a large, largely untapped market that's difficult to penetrate, but the company that does is likely to own it. Through the trial with the South Australian Government and the ANU projects, we have our foot in the door to developing a national capability. The generic information sharing market, it includes many industries, and we have our foot in the door of this through the proposals we submitted to the New South Wales Government and Yarra trams. Finally, there's the carbon market, which is less than 3 months old, is potentially very large and is completely untapped. We're pitching to the board of the biggest player in this market, and we've got an energy industry insider excited. So there are huge opportunities between these three markets, and we've managed to get a foot in the door of all of them over the last 3 months. And through this, we've been able to establish relationships with a number of venture capital firms. Our skills range from emergency management to IT project management to technical development. We've previously introduced innovations that are now used globally. I provide strategic advice on the preparedness of the ACT government to ministers for bushfires. But despite all this, we're just 3 people. Taking on these markets requires skills and capacity beyond what we can currently offer. We've pushed our proof of concept system, held together by sticky tape and string, as far as it can go. Our customers are seeking a system they can use in mission-critical situations. So for these reasons, we're seeking support to fill skill gaps in our team and to help convert our proof of concept into a production-ready, high-volume, high-reliability system. Then together, we can reduce the growing impact of fires and other natural disasters on individuals, the environment and society, including on people just like these. With our system, better decisions could have been made sooner, and these 18 people would still be alive today. Thank you.
Thank you very much, both Sonja and Dylan. That was a very sobering delivery, very sad story about those 18 firefighters, but a fantastic solution that you're providing that can hopefully stop that from ever happening again. So thank you very much for that. I'd like to now introduce you to our final startup for the day. That is Travelling Tradies, which is founded by Adam Valastro. Travelling Tradies is an online marketplace that connects tradies to venues around Australia needing repairs, where they can exchange their skills in return for a stay at those venues that they're enhancing and fixing up. So please tell us more about it, Adam.
Will do. Can you hear me loud and clear?
Yep.
Perfect. Thank you. Give me 2 seconds. All right, so as Pam alluded to, my name is Adam Valastro. I am one of the founders of Travelling Tradies. Before I get into it, I want to give you a little bit of a backstory on how Travelling Tradies all began, and it'll segue kind of into who we are, what we're about, and what we're out to achieve. So how it all began, I am a plumber by trade. I worked in the industry for over a decade. I got to a point in my life where from the outside in, it looked all roses and dandelions, but from the inside out, I was absolutely miserable. I was basically at my wit's end. I was working 80-hour weeks. I was turning to drugs and alcohol as my vice, and I went down a pretty dark downward spiral. What a lot of people don't realize is that there is a huge problem of mental health and also suicide and depression in the construction industry, and that is caused by a lot of different things: the macho culture, toxic culture, drugs and alcohol, abuse, that kind of stuff. And so basically I got to a point in my life where I was at rock bottom. I was working in the mines in Perth at the time, and in the space of about a week and a half, 2 fellow colleagues of mine took their own lives. And for me, that was straw that broke the camel's back. I resigned from my job. I broke up with my then girlfriend at the time, and I disappeared overseas. I had a non-negotiable goal to myself to be overseas for a minimum of 6 months. And after the first month or so, I'd spent a chunk of what I'd saved. Being as resourceful as I could, I basically approached all the venue owners that I was staying at and basically offered my skills in exchange for food and accommodation. That arrangement snowballed for the next 3.5 years, and I basically traveled the world exchanging my skills for food and accommodation, and basically got to a point where I arrived back in Australia and I realized that the pain point I was solving for myself was actually quite common across the board. That then resulted in me going and endeavoring down creating a double-sided marketplace called Travelling Tradies, and basically over the last 3 and a bit years, our model has iterated, obviously because of the current world climate and things going on and things like that. Our newest model and the direction we're focusing on at the moment is we're basically an app that connects tradies to venues needing repairs, and where they exchange their skills for stay, services, or experiences. Why do we exist? The reason we exist is to enhance people's lives, and doing that through travel and experiences. For me, it was a game changer. It gave me perspective being in other countries and understanding what real world problems are. I love Australia with all my heart, but I feel sometimes we're in a little bit of an isolated bubble because, you know, first world problems, right? Oh, my coffee's cold and things like that. Whereas travel gave me that perspective that things like a cold coffee, sure, might be an inconvenience, but they're not really a problem. the problem that we're solving with traveling tradies is a couple. We're obviously twofold of a market. We have a double-sided market of tradies on one side, venues on the other. Basically, for tradies, 74% of tradies surveyed say money is their biggest barrier to taking a break. Extended travel is difficult and prohibitive due to high costs, especially for a novel new experience. Now, a lot of people will be thinking, but tradies get paid so much. So, you know, why would that be a problem? And the issue comes down to the core. The core is the things that I mentioned before. Drug and alcohol abuse, spending on material things, that macho culture, who has, the biggest, shiniest thing. And it's kind of money management in a lot of ways, but also that burnout, which is a massive cause of that stress. For venue owners, venues lose a lot of profits due to ongoing maintenance and labor costs, as well as underutilization of their property in downtimes. 8 out of 10 property owners say that cost and access to reliable tradies prevents them from maintaining their facilities. Next, our solution. As mentioned before, we're an app that connects tradies to venues needing repairs, where they exchange their skills for stay, service, or experiences. Tradies exchange their skills for stay, service, experience. Venues offer services or experience in exchange for enhancement. The benefits for our tradies is affordable travel and experiences around Australia, adventure and inspiration, and for a new lease on life, and improved wellbeing and community because of their rejuvenation and refreshness. Venues, we have an efficient solution, a cost-effective solution, and a trusted network that we offer to all of our venues. Getting into market size, the market size here for tradies, basically this is being divvied up obviously into a share of our market here in Australia. Our first target is 60,000 tradies aligning with our traveling tradies demographic. Then we have our service addressable market of around Australia. And then we've got tradies globally in other countries that have the same level of skill that we do. Then we've also, our model can be replicated to other industries. So basically we've got the next 2 industries we're going to go into is creatives and things like that, which opens up our potential addressable market globally of around $11.6 billion. Venue market size is around the same. Obviously, there is a lot more brick and mortar places that we're going to target as well. Here we've got 200,000 venues aligning to traveling tradies target demographic. Then we also have hosts in Australia and traveling tradies demographic. Then we go up a level where it's all different types of accommodations. And then globally, we've got selected channels, accommodations, hospitality, co-working, things like that. Our commercial model, how do we make money? Basically, we charge 20% on every transaction that occurs on the platform from tradies and venues. So basically, and the remaining, as it says here, is supplemented with a currency we've created called Traveling Tradies Coin. Basically, what we do is when a venue gets a job done, we charge them 20% of what it would normally cost in labor. They pay for materials and things like that. And then same for the tradies. We charge them 20% of the commercial value of a stay or stay service or experience that they book on the platform. Now, what is Traveling Tradies Coin? First off the bat, it's not a cryptocurrency. Basically, as we're a skills exchange platform, we still need a way to regulate and manage the fair value of exchange between our tradies and our venues. Hence why we invented Traveling Tradies Coin. In the system, outside of the transactions, the Traveling Tradies Coin is equivalent to $1 Aussie dollar. All coin is stored on your virtual wallet on the app as well. So how do traveling tradies earn and spend TT coin? As a trader, you earn TT coin when you complete jobs for venues, and it's up to you of where you spend it, and when and how you spend it. So until you choose a stay, service, or experience, your coin is banked in your virtual wallet. And as it's shown here in the infographic, you complete jobs to earn TT coin, you spend TT coin on a stay, service, or experience. Then here's some examples. So this is a real job example that we had a couple of months ago. This job was worth 2,500 Australian dollars for redecking around the pool. Basically, the tradie received the payment in the form of 2,500 TT coin to spend at any of other venues on the platform whenever they desired. And this 2,500 TT coin went straight to their wallet as shown. Then when the tradie wants to spend, this is an example of a skydiving experience. Using the app, the experience is worth 500 AUD. They would pay 20% to us in real Aussie dollars and the remainder 80% in TT coin. Traveling tradie supplements the gap to the venue, so the venue gets the full 100% of TT coin value. How How do venues earn and spend TT coin? Basically, a venue offers a stay, service, or experience and earns TT coin. That's or they can alternatively buy from us at a rate of $1 to 5 TT coin. Every new venue coming into our ecosystem gets 250 TT coin off the bat to stimulate the TT coin in the economy, and they spend TT coin by having jobs completed. So any job completed, they spend it, they pay us 20%, 80% is supplemented, is given to the tradies, and traveling tradies supplements the 20% that was paid in dollars to us in TT coin. So this is the example again, but on the venue side, and basically, yeah, the venue paid us $500 on this, the remaining 80% got paid to them, we supplemented the gap, everybody was happy. What type of venues do we accept? Service or experience venues. We accept all types of venues from wineries, co-working spaces, restaurants, surf schools, bars, massage parlors, even accounting firms. Accommodation venues. We accept all type of accommodation venues, Airbnbs, tiny homes, guest houses, things like that. Our app and our platform. So basically, we are in beta testing of this version, which is the third version currently. We've got a closed group that we're testing with in 3 segmented areas around Melbourne, and that's been amazing. We have the full-fledged app for main launch in early next year, in January, just after the holidays. Timing, obviously, with COVID and then Christmas has been a little bit difficult, but we're just rolling with the punches on that. How it works for tradies, simple process. You sign up, you create your profile and get verified. You search for jobs to complete. You complete jobs and earn TT coin, and then you spend your TT coin on a stay, service, or experience when you desire. Same for the venues. You sign up, you create your profile, get verified. You search for tradies, you get jobs completed and spend TT coin, and then you offer a stay, service, or experience and earn TT coin. So we've also got and created a machine learning job creation equivalency tool. Basically what we've done is we've created a database of about 5,000 jobs that myself and Jesse, I'm a plumber, Jesse is a registered builder, and we basically outlined all of the jobs from our past venues as well as expanded on each of those industries, and then created a value of equation based on a fair median that we dictated based on industry rates, hourly rate, and time to take for each job, and basically created a calculator that when it's punched in, a venue can just choose the jobs and it spits out an equivalency straight away. Step 2 of that is we're actually creating a machine learning tool where through video, where you take a video and it'll basically turn that to text, and then the text will convert to a value, it'll spit that out. So there's basically the customer experience is enhanced greatly. Our team, we've got Sammy, which is one of the co-founders and our tech lead, myself, co-founder and CEO, and Jesse, co-founder and CX lead. Sammy is about to have a baby in the coming months, so I'll come back to that when we have the ask. We are looking for technical expertise and guidance. Jesse and I are both tradies. We're not in the technical world. Sammy is with us at the moment, and we're rock solid, which is great. Our advisors on board, we have Adam Shapiro, who is finance and grant advisor. We have Fraser Adnam, platform launch strategist and advisor. We have Mark Harbottle, who's our informal tech advisor and marketplace guru. We've got Doran Ben Muir, business development, and we've got Linda Fletcher, legal IP and business as well. Our current bottlenecks, capital limitations. With limited capital, we're basically unable to focus on continuing and have to bootstrap. We've just raised a small amount, another angel round, just to get us runway into the next year. But our resource limitations are caused by the capital and, specifically in the areas of technology, the product management side, marketing, and customer success. What's our ask? Basically, we're looking for 2 things: to raise a total of 500K over the next couple of months. This will give us runway for 24 months and be able to achieve our Horizon 2 and Horizon 3 goals. Preferably on a safe note, which is what we've done with our last angel. And we're also looking for part-time devs or dev consultants that have experience in building and launching double-sided marketplaces, platform product management for growth, and also have sound technical knowledge, JavaScript knowledge, obviously, in Bubble.io, which is a no-code platform which we've built our 3rd iteration of MVP, as well as AWS experience. That's pretty much it in a nutshell. That's who we are, what we're about. Really excited for the coming 2022. And that's about it. Thanks for your time.
Fantastic. Thanks for that enthusiastic delivery, Adam. We'll now move. We'll now move to reviewing some of the questions that have been posed to our presenters. I'm moving over to chat now to have a look at what's been asked. The first question's from Stefan, and it's for Trav. First of all, thanks for the presentation. In regards to letters of intent, they're good to have, but realistically, how will you get the high-profile performers over the line to say yes? And are you going to are you going to target the next tier down of performers, sports stars? So a question for you, Trav.
Yeah, thanks, Pam. Thanks, Stefan, as well. I've actually just answered in the chat, but I'll just go through what I've said. But essentially, the most enticing factor for them is our business model. So we actually pay out over 700 times more than YouTube, and they're genuinely able to generate that revenue they deserve just through subscriptions, let alone the other revenue streams that we have over the other platforms. But we also offer a suite of products and tools for free that they're either currently paying for elsewhere or they're using across multiple platforms now, which can get really messy for their workflow. So Dubstream actually integrates that into one complete solution for them. So things like white labeling, data profiling, editing and scheduling and things like that. They can also integrate the tools that they're using now into our ecosystem. So if they want to keep using what they already use, and we're not here to replace anything that they're doing content strategy-wise from a Facebook or a YouTube. We're actually helping them post all that content across all the other platforms as well within our ecosystem. We also offer software development kits so they can create any custom tools or features that they need for free. They don't have to wait for us to develop them or ask us. And then initially before launch, we're going to operate as a closed beta. So what that does is it actually allows them to slowly build their channels, add the content, everything that they need, everything to their live stores in private. So they'll have a decent content offering by the time we launch publicly. But in the meantime, they'll also be able to use all of our tools like our white labeling services just to test everything out and get comfortable with our tech. Absolutely with no risk. So, you know, they get all the benefits of the Dubstream ecosystem at no risk before we even launch. But as for the next tier of performers, we definitely are targeting like your second and third tier artists, but we do want to keep it at a certain level of quality across the platform. For anything below that, YouTube and Facebook already look after that market pretty well. So,
Trav, can you put your video on, thanks?
Sure.
Because we've got another question for you.
Okay.
Sorry, for some reason we can't see you.
Hi. I'm back.
Good, fantastic, great. So a question from Pietro. Pietro loved the Dubstream demo and wonders about your website. Is it live to check out yet?
We aren't live now. If you go to Dubstream, all one word, .tv, you'll see our placeholder there, which will be live hopefully soon. But we are going to have our closed beta up and running in the next couple of weeks. So Pietro, if you want to hit me up, I'm sure we can exchange details. I'd be more than happy to walk you through that closed beta when it's available, or even give you a more, I guess, intense look at that walkthrough that I presented in our presentation.
Great, thank you very much, Trav. Okay, our next question is actually for AMH, and that's from Sue. Sue asks, Josh, it looks like a great program and I see that it's being used by a lot of universities, which is fantastic. Is AMH also planning on being used at schools as well? Josh, I think you're muted. Still muted. We still can't hear you. Okay.
You might be better off skipping for the moment.
Okay, we might. I think Josh has actually answered this question in the chat to Sue. The answer is yes. Okay. We've got another question coming up. This is another one for Trav. Okay, Trav.
Yes.
Okay. So Trav put your video on? This is a long one.
Uh-oh.
So this is from Sharat. Sharat loved the presentation and says it's great stuff. Now, his comment is that Insta, FB and YouTube all have the features that you've talked about: fan following, online shops, sell merchandise, creating events, connecting with fans, using Insta Live and much more. Besides these social platforms, there's quite a bit of other facility there to allow for audiences and celebrities to connect and getting them to build up channels and audiences. So he wants to sort of dig down to the key feature differentiation that you intend to build into Dubstream that can differentiate it from all of these competitors. So how will you convince, and also here's another question, how will you convince the celebrities and stars to move to Dubstream so that you can you can actually take advantage of your difference in the market?
Sure. First of all, Shrat, thank you so much, A, for the lovely words, and B, for the questions. Yeah, look, online shops and merchandise right now through Facebook and YouTube and Instagram Live and all these things actually through third parties. So it's quite tough. They have to go to separate things. They can't actually do it all in-house, where it's all integrated here in Dubstream in our ecosystem. But we also are doing a focus on interactive chat, because for us, it's all about community building. So the more a person feels a part of it and feels included, the more active they're going to be and the more engaged they are. So just one of the things that we're building is into our interactive chat, we have a thing called producer mode, which we've been testing and could take, I think it was, you'd have to speak to my CTO, but it was over 3,000 messages per second he was looking at it. But what it can actually do is it uses AI and machine learning to just basically filter out all the hi, how you going, all of that kind of stuff, find the really great content questions that are going to evoke like a really good broadcast, and highlight those. So that's the first thing there. And I guess we also provide them, as I was saying earlier to Stefan's question, we also provide them with all those tools that they need for their entire workflow. So no other platform does that. And for us, we feel like, yeah, sure, anybody can copy a business model, anybody can copy a feature, but for us, it's all about building that ecosystem of products and a suite of products, so they basically integrate into us, and it's a lot harder to leave. It's kind of like Nile mentality. It's an ecosystem. We've got a number of other services in our roadmaps as well. Like we've got a content agency to help with their strategy and develop their content together. We've got stadium integration on the way. So if you go to a football match and you can open up your Dubstream app and you can basically participate in halftime quizzes, sponsorship things, I guess, vote on who you want to talk, the presenter to interview, all things like that. And we've also got like an advertising marketplace as well. So if they have an upcoming live stream that they want to get sponsored, they can post that on our advertising marketplace. Brands will be browsing that, and they can directly contact and form a partnership, I guess, just off of that. And finally, I guess we're not a traditional user-generated platform in the sense that anybody can create a channel. So when you come to Dubstream, you know exactly where to find, your favorite channels, your official channels. You know exactly where they're going to be. You know who's going to be there. That quality is always going to be high. And all those major platforms, we know their algorithms hide posts all the time. So not even half of those fans are going to see half of your posts if you're on a major platform. But the other thing as well, you're also not getting lost, sorry to be controversial, but in your auntie's anti-vaxxer posts and, the racist posts maybe that your high school friend that you never speak to posts. So, when you come to Dubstream, you see a channel of a performer that you love, that's what you're going to get. You're going to go straight to their channel and get that content that you need and nothing else. Hopefully that is good.
Thanks. Back to you, Pam.
No worries, thank you.
Sorry. Sorry, I had I had a bit of a tech glitch. We have a question now for Dylan and Sonja. What your platform looks like it could be applied to some other sectors apart from emergency management. So are you considering any others, and what are they?
So fundamentally, all our platform is it's a way of sharing information between geographically separated people. And instead of using your voice or text, it's all based around maps. And that has applications in a whole lot of things, such as public transport, for example. So communicating information from the drivers of public transport, buses, trams, whatever, and their control centre, between drivers themselves, from the public to the Transport Authority, because it can collect information from the community back in. Policing security is another kind of area we've looked at. Biosecurity, threatened species management we mentioned with about koalas, weed management, which is actually exactly the same as threatened species management, except you're trying to reduce the population rather than increase the population. Surf life saving even, so you could look at a map and you could actually see the real time, you know, where there are rips, for example, on the beach. Citizen science type approaches. So I guess in some ways that's sort of the, you know, an issue we have a bit is the potential applications are very broad, and it's trying to pick the ones that are going to bear most fruit. And I guess what we've sort of found over the course of the uSpark program, it is actually where I came from originally, to do with fire, but it's all this carbon farming is just this huge thing that's just exploded in the last few months basically.
Great, thank you very much for that. Our next question is, I believe, from Mohit, and that's to Adam. Mohit asks, how is indemnity covered, and how can you make sure that trade licenses and legals are covered, as every state obviously has different building regulations?
Yeah, great question. Thank you for that. Basically, it comes in a couple of different ways. So obviously, insurances and liabilities is a big one. We as a company have our own liabilities insurance on a business standpoint, obviously. For the first version, we're rolling out in Victoria only for this next rollout, condensing to Victoria, so just dealing with those work laws and insurances and things like that. Every tradie in this next phase has liability insurance up to $10/20 million, depending on their policy, and every venue that we bring in must have property insurance or some kind of insurance, holiday rental insurance, etc., like that, to cover for these exact issues.
Thanks very much, Adam. I think our final question for today is posed to Brendan, and although Brendan has answered it in chat, the object of the exercise is for our founders to actually answer the questions in person. So, Brendan, the question is from Varesh, is there a future roadmap to include the remaining 30% of people? How will the platform support updating a will, and how will the updating be priced?
Yeah, look, thanks, Varesh. There's a lot here. The first thing is that we've got a very comprehensive channel strategy to reach people. The second thing is, one of the fundamental principles of building Will HQ is to make it easy to update. So I've said it's $99 for a will. Even though we're not 12 months operating, the annual renewal fee is $15. That's likely to change in the future, especially as we add complementary documents and services to the actual platform. The main thing, however, is your big question about how do we deal with the remaining 30% of people? Let me start by saying we never want to deal with 100% because lawyers are absolutely essential in this process. We are not competing with lawyers, we're complementing them, starting with the people who never go to a lawyer to make a will, and working up through trying to become efficient. So instead of paying $1,000, why not actually pay $129 for a more comprehensive will in the case, let's say, of blended families with with complexities. That's not difficult. It just needs procedural systems approaches to get it sorted. So look, if you are interested, I'm more than happy to, you know, elaborate on a call, because we have a very comprehensive technical and product strategy to actually broaden this both in Australia and overseas over the next 12 to 18 months.
Thanks very much for answering that question, Brendan. Well, everyone, we've come to the end of our session today. Thanks very much for showing us your support and coming along. If you have any questions about our uSpark program or any inquiries about our founders today, please feel free to contact me or any of our team at uSpark. And I wish you all the best for the rest of the day. Thank you.